Could I ask again, what kind of oppressive state is Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, darling of the left, creating in New Zealand? There's been another disturbing development to a story I brought you a couple of months ago. I told you then how New Zealand had banned an Australian journalist, Avi Yemeni of the right-wing Rebel News, from covering an anti-government protest there. Now, New Zealand said that Yemeni was banned because he was bad character. But I told you that Yemeni actually did not fit the definition of a bad character on New Zealand's online advice to travellers. He had never been given a prison term of 5 years or convicted and sentenced to jail in the previous 10 months. There was a violent domestic incident with his wife for which he was fined, but that did not fit the definition of bad character, the legal definition. So what really was the reason for banning Avi Yemeni? Well, a hacked message from Interpol in Wellington then showed that police actually were shopping around for an excuse to ban him. They claimed he was just pretending to be a journalist, that apparently sent this message to Australian police saying New Zealand would like to stop him and a colleague, Rukshan Fernando, from entering New Zealand and urgently seek any information regarding criminal convictions or any information tending to show that individuals are bad character. Now, it decided to ban Yemeni before it had actually found an excuse to do that. It was shopping around. But now, more documents from New Zealand's Immigration Department have been released under a Freedom of Information request from Yemeni, and they show the real reason the government wanted to stop him and fellow blogger Rukshan Fernando. It wasn't any criminal record. No, that's an excuse, and not even a valid one. It was their opinion. These documents say the real reason for banning the two was their propensity for both individuals to incite and agitate people with opposing views. That is, opposing views to the government's. Joining me is journalist Avi Yemeni from Rebel News. Avi, thank you so much for your time. You were against lockdowns and you covered demonstrations by people who are against them too. Are these the opposing views that the New Zealand government wanted you banned for?
Andrew, I don't know. They don't really qualify it. It's just general views. I can understand the Jacinda Ardern and Rebel News probably don't see eye to eye in many issues, including lockdowns. But it's just crazy to think also, not only did they manage to do it and lie about it, and the media continued to spread this lie, even though none of it added up. And today, for the first time, News Hub, which is one of their mainstream media platforms, finally conceded everything we were saying is true, and all the events happened exactly as we'd said it did. But they still, at the end, conclude that it wasn't politically motivated, and that's something that we've just made up. Well, Andrew, I don't know what else to call it when somebody goes fishing after being tipped off by the media. That's what these documents also show, that it was New Zealand Herald media request which alerted them to the fact that I was coming, and them quickly deciding that they had to ban me and figure out how to do so. And then when they, in fact, banned me unfairly, they were congratulating each other in those emails, and your viewers can go and read all those documents on the website, avilegalfund.com. It's all there. You don't have to take our word for it.
No, you don't have to. You can read it there. I mean, it's been heavily redacted, so I wonder what they've been cutting out. But absolutely. And you're quite right. The documents say they want to stop you for your opposing views to the government's views, without actually saying what views we're talking about here. I mean, that strikes me as extremely sinister. That is indeed political censorship. Do you feel, though, if it was about your opposing views on lockdowns, that a government should be justified in stopping you when you were there actually to report the views of others in New Zealand?
Well, I guess Xi Jinping would agree with that kind of conduct. That is the kind of behaviour you would expect by the CCP. There's somebody, Hong Kong protests, if somebody was daring. I used to report from the front lines in the Hong Kong protests, and I imagine today if I went there, I'd either be turned around or jailed there as well these days. And I just wouldn't imagine that our neighbour New Zealand would conduct themselves this way, and that they'd be celebrated and encouraged by the media class. It's shocking. But guess what, Andrew? Right now we're waiting for the decision on the actual visa, because after going through the process, and we'll keep going, we've learned that you actually need them to ban you from a visa rather than just the visa waiver to be able to file something in court. So now the ball's in their court. Let's say if they do ban us, that gives us a chance to file in court. But I have a feeling that after what we've seen here, these people don't really want to get up and be cross-examined. So I imagine I'll be in New Zealand fairly soon, and all those people that have celebrated for months until now will be a little bit upset about it.
Well, particularly since the views the New Zealand government had on lockdown seem to have been wildly misplaced, to be perfectly honest. Avi Yemeni, thank you so much indeed for your time.